Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Human Happy Hour. And today we are joined by Savage Joy Marie Mann, and she is an activist, a YouTube host, organizer, and advocate for Medicare for All. She has done over 400 interviews on her YouTube show, and Joy is currently an organizer for the July 30th March for Medicare for All. So welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Pleasure's ours.
Yeah, we're so glad that you came. Yeah, so we want to kind of like talk a little bit about your journey here in terms of fighting for Medicare for all. How did that start?
Well, I actually I've worked in healthcare for over a decade, so I've been very familiar with all of the trauma people go through, and just I've worked in pretty much every aspect of healthcare, medical assistance, Medicare, CHIP, um, uh, dental. I mean, just like every aspect. So I have basically seen the flaws in every single path, so to speak. Um, so I knew there was something better, and I knew there was something more humane. So, I started really, in 2015. Bernie was the one that just kind of, you know, uh, got me uh, active, essentially, in activism and organizing. And then 2 years ago, when I started going blind, it kind of took on a personal meaning. So I was, an activist before that, but then I became a disabled activist. So it was a very different thing then. Then I was also fighting for myself.
Well,
Yeah.
what is the reason you started going blind?
I'm sorry.
What is the reason you started going blind? What is it? What's
Oh,
going on?
so I actually didn't know, but I have a very rare disorder called myopic degeneration. And the way it works is it's always sudden. And by sudden, I mean I went to bed one night and I woke up the next morning and most of my sight was gone.
Oh my God.
And nobody had ever detected I had such a thing. I've been
Wow.
wearing glasses for, I don't know, probably 35 years or something. Nobody ever sensed I had anything. It's very rare. So it was just from that moment, you go through the stages, like, bargaining, where it's like, well, there's always these anomalies. My sight will come back. It's just, and the denial and things like that. And then now it's been 2 years. So it's kind of like, I've grown to unfortunately accept the fact that I'm just not going to be sighted again.
Wow. How much sight is, I mean, you're looking at stuff, so I was like, what level?
I am well, this eye is pretty much like nothing, and then this eye is about 20% sight. So I've gotten kind of accustomed to seeing like shapes. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
can see Rena, I can see your beautiful hair and your teal shirt and things like that, but I can't see your face. So
That's
I see like line.
that's kind of like, I guess, how I see without my glasses
Hmm.
on. Some like, I mean, not as bad, but yeah, I understand what you're saying, like being like, oh, I can't see any of your facial features, but I can just see, I know the general,
Right.
what you look like.
Wow. God, that must have been so hard. I can't even imagine.
It's rough. It's
Yeah.
rough because I'm a super independent person. I don't like having to ask for help at all. So needing to constantly ask my husband to, help plug in a charger, or take me to work because I can't drive, and things like this. It's hard for me, and it's the pride gets very wounded, because you're like, I'm a strong woman, I don't need anyone to help me, but then you're like, yeah, I actually do. So it's a lot to try and get used to.
Oh yeah, I cannot even imagine. I mean, almost everything I do is based on just being able to see. I mean, like things I love to do, like I can't think of anything. So I can't I have nothing but sympathy. I can't even imagine what that must be like.
Well, it was, I was a literature major. I was an English major.
Oh, same.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm the opposite of a literature major.
What?
I'm terrible at literature.
Oh. Admitting it's the first step.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, I mean, I couldn't read a book for over a year, and it killed me. Like, audiobooks are great, awesome, wonderful, but like, if that's all you can do, I love the feel of tangible books and being able to write in them and feel, them in my hands. And it was so some. And then thankfully, my dear friend Marianne Williamson did a fundraiser for me, and I was able to get the blind accessibility equipment I needed to be able to get my prescription reader, to start being able to read again. So, but yeah, it was like 14 months without reading a book, and I was going insane.
Is that one of those like little wand things you put over the text and then it reads to you?
Kind of, yeah. And it's prescription, and it's specifically for my disorder, and like there's different size and coloring and things like that. But basically, like, it's like a specific prescription magnifier in a way. But yeah, it's $1,400. So.
Oh wow! Okay,
Oh my
Jesus.
God. Yeah.
And it should be free.
Absolutely. That's why I didn't have it for 14 months. So thank you, Marianne. I love you.
Wow.
That's really kind of her that she did that.
She has been my biggest supporter. There's no question. For over a year, she came on my show a little over a year ago, and we just connected, and she said, how much money do we need to raise? And I was like, what?
Wow.
And then she was like, create a GoFundMe, let's do a fundraiser. And I was like, oh my God. So she just we talked for 1 hour, and she just kind of picked me up and stuck me in her pocket, and we've just been close friends ever since. She's amazing.
Oh, that's nice.
Did you meet because you had her on the show? That was the first time that you met?
We have met in person several times. Yeah, she was our keynote last year at our DC march, and I was MC. So, and then also we hung out in May. We were both at an Assange protest in DC, so we got to hang out then too.
A what protest?
Assange.
Julian Assange.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I heard massage. I'm like, why would you protest a massage?
I was like, please tell me you know who Assange is.
Yes.
Please.
Well, it's like if I said Sylvester, you could think the cat or Sylvester Stallone, but I'm like a full name kind of person with certain people.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
I was like, Assange.
I knew that. That's why I was like, let me say the name.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
wow.
we're getting, as we host together, we're getting to know each other's like little quirks.
Oh yeah. You don't have any quirks. You're just like perfect. She's always helping me.
That was very sweet, but I think my quirk is I'm like, we have to follow the question list. Like,
That's a good quirk. I guess it's
I
a quirk.
gotta say, I have been interviewed probably 100 times in the past 5 years, and nobody has ever sent me questions before. I was like, oh my God, they're like organized and shit. Like,
Oh, wow.
I was like seriously impressed.
Oh, what? That's great. Well,
Oh,
that's
well,
everybody
thank
but me.
Yeah. The random questions that you'll get in between, that will be Jayson. That's the surprise.
That I'm an open book, even if you're illiterate. That's what I say.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I totally know what you mean about like that, just wanting to read and, you know, like hold it in your hand. Maybe it is like an English major thing, right? Like, because even like I read plenty of stuff online, but I'll still buy books, certain things that I want because I want to hold it in my hand. And yeah, and audiobooks I just don't really do because I want to look at the punctuation.
Yes.
Like-
Oh my God, yes.
Oh my God.
Like, I reread Catcher in the Rye for like the 100th time, and I'm like, yo, there are some serious missing commas. And I started taking pictures of like all the typos and stuff. And I was like, you know what? This is offensive because this is my favorite book. And there are some serious issues grammatically in here.
I wonder if it's like something happened in the reprinting process, or if that is
I was thinking that, or
original.
possibly over the decades, like new grammatical rules or something like that. But
oh yeah, maybe somebody didn't adjust for AP style or something.
right.
This is like
Jason's like, what's going on?
this is some kind of payback I'm getting for all the different like sci-fi nerds that we've had on. And like,
Yeah.
we'll be talking about D&D and we'll be talking about, you know, Star Wars and stuff or whatever. And Rena's or video games. And now it's literature revolution.
Okay, so you're really gonna hate me. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
I've never seen Star Wars.
That's fine.
It's like, that's fine. I'm surprised when some people are able to avoid it. I get, because I feel like lately it's been like shoved out, like with all the new ones. Like, and I will say I only like the old. I don't like.
I've seen Spaceballs, and I love that.
Then you've seen
like
Star
that.
Wars. It's pretty much the same thing.
Okay, then that's good.
Yeah. It's not a requirement.
Well, I do get kind of like,
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, well, I've never seen Godfather 2 and people like freak out.
I've never seen Godfather 1.
It's not as good as everyone says it is.
Yeah, actually,
Already
I've never seen Godfather either.
Yeah, if you've seen Sopranos, then you no longer need to see Godfather because it's
I have.
pales in
yes.
comparison. In my opinion. No, it factually pales in comparison.
I think when things are like super like famous, it just kind of turns me off, I guess. I don't know. Like maybe subconsciously I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so sick of hearing about Star Wars. I don't care. Like I've never
Yeah.
seen Lord of the Rings or any of those things. Or
Okay, now we have an
Harry
issue.
Potter.
Jason, so I read the Lord of the Rings books.
Of course you did.
Did not like those, and
Yeah.
then tried watching the movies, and I was like, I don't like this either. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't
It's
like
not
any
for
of it.
everyone, I understand.
But I'm like, at least I could say I've read the books. And I was like,
So just to give you an idea of how excited I was when I saw Return of the King for the first time, which is the third episode of Lord of the Rings, I stimmed, which I didn't know until later when I found, because my son is autistic and I saw him stimming one day and I was like, oh, I've stimmed before. It was in Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I was in the chair. It started and I went, and I was like, oh my God, I'm on the spectrum, I think. And then I started, it's just started spinning in my head, like all these parallels that I have with my son. But yeah, so it made me stim.
That's awesome.
that's a good story.
Overload.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna like periodically pivot us back to our some of the key things that we want to talk to you
I will be
about.
periodically pivoting us away.
Yes.
I mean, I love my downstairs we literally modeled into a theater. So we have red velvet ropes and a red velvet
nice.
curtain and
That's awesome.
frame pictures of all our favorite films. And so like when it comes to shows and movies, I'm just like, yeah, let's go.
Nice.
So I don't mind.
Nice.
That's awesome. I bet that's really fun to watch there.
It's I mean, I can't see it, but I listen.
Oh God.
I do my best.
Do you use that option where it explains what's going on? Like
I find that so distracting.
I was wondering if that was distracting because
Oh my
I've
God,
accidentally had it on before, and I'm like, does this help people?
So does it talk over the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
dialogue?
It's like she walks
Yeah.
into the room, she's wearing a pink dress or something. It'll say stuff
Yep.
like that, like just
While
over.
they're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
that
like,
would
I'd
blow up my
rather
brain.
hear
Yeah.
what they're saying than
Mhm.
they sauntered in and blah blah blah. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's
Because your
it's way too
imagination probably is better than what they're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Things you know, when you lose your sight, you have a way more vivid imagination when it comes to things like that.
I bet. Yeah.
I feel like English majors also have that vivid, you know,
Yes.
so it's like it just
Yes.
yeah.
Well,
because
I
when
have
you're
a
reading,
vivid
right,
imagination too.
I know
Well,
you
if
do.
you like D and
I know
D
you
and
do.
stuff, obviously.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's it. I hate reading, but I've read literally every book in the D&D collection.
Dork.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't resist.
Oh, it's totally true.
Dorks
100%.
are awesome. I'm a dork, so I embrace it.
That's our favorite people, my opinion anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of the fun conversations with people that are on the dork spectrum.
The dork spectrum.
Everything's a spectrum nowadays.
It really is. If we could only get
Dork.
everybody to agree to that, everybody would be much happier.
Right? It's true.
It's
That's
not black and
true.
white. Everything is on a spectrum. Just
You
chill
just
out.
went full dork. You're not even on the spectrum anymore. That's how you talk to people now.
Yeah.
You're like pseudo quasi dork. Step it up. We need like full dork.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that a dork, isn't that also a horse's penis?
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
I just
don't
said
know why it sounded so excited.
you were really excited. You're like, oh my God. Well, you said full dork, and then my vivid imagination was. Sorry.
And you know what? Here's a random
Oh,
fact.
Rena's gone.
Oh,
Rena's like, I'm out.
no, it's my finicky camera. that I have
Animal
to-
appendages. So a narwhal, that thing, they call him a unicorn of the sea, you know, because of the horn. It's actually a tooth.
Oh, right. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
I just like to share that because a lot of people don't know that.
I have heard it. I forgot it completely.
Mark that down.
Yeah. And so does it actually grow out of their mouth through their head?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very inconvenient.
It's like a snaggletooth, a pointy horn snaggletooth.
Oh, wow. Oh, God.
Rena's just like, why did I ask this girl to come on?
No, we're all having fun. Like,
Yeah.
I think like also I'm probably it's because I'm so used to serious interviews because I write articles, you know, and all that, and like they just never get into like the fun part. So I have to adjust to like, oh, I don't have to be in business mode all the time when you're having an interview. Like it's it's a weird space to do both. And I am like so professionally used to doing that where like is I interview clinicians and I'm like, you can't talk about like crazy stuff with them. Like that's not
True.
Do you need a co-host when you when you interview clinicians?
that would get
Oh my God, they
really
have to sign a disclaimer.
I know like that would get really interesting though, actually, if I just had you in there. when I'm interviewing clinicians.
Oh my God.
Doctor, I have a question.
Is this normal? Let me explain something.
I would get some wild quotes. They probably wouldn't be usable in any of the articles, but maybe.
So back to Medicare for all. I'm sorry.
So really, like, we're interested in hearing that whole journey, and like where you came from, and you kind of started to tell it, and you at a certain point your story got more public, and you started to tell it in public forums. And so what was that experience like?
Yeah, the first time I shared my story publicly was on the Force the Vote town hall. I was asked the night before. Ryan Knight, I don't know if you know who that is.
I actually saw you on that.
The
town hall. Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough. First time I ever called myself disabled. But yeah, Ryan hit me up and he said, Joy, I'm donating my spot to you because I want people to hear what you're going through. Because we had done shows together and I DM'd him personally and stuff. And I was just like, he told me the night before, and I was just like, oh my God, I have to write a speech. I don't know what I'm doing. And it just all came out, and I'm pretty sure I was like ugly crying through like 85% of it. But it just kind of, that had 130,000 viewers, and it just kind of snowballed from there. I didn't expect anything to come of it. I just, I noticed that on the town hall, it was a bunch of like famous people, so to speak, and there wasn't any like people who had really gone through what, personal experiences of why we need national improved Medicare for all. So I made a post about, I don't understand why, a forum about healthcare has no disabled people and no victims of our violent capitalist system. And, a few people saw it, and I was not expecting anything to come of it. I was just ranting. And then the next day I was, Brother Cornell said, we had met prior, like a year prior. And he was telling me like, he heard of my story and stuff like that. So that was awesome. And it just kind of snowballed from there. It was very unexpected. It just kind of, I became like some kind of like healthcare public figure, social media person or something. And it was awkward, and it could still be awkward, but it's very humbling at the same time. I try my best to highlight other people because I know I have a platform. So like March for Medicare for All, we did a summit where we had over 20 hours of panels, and they were all like real people. Like we had a disability panel, a panel of people of color talking about the disparities in healthcare, climate and healthcare, pretty much like every topic you could think of. And we were so proud of doing it because it was people who you've never heard of, but who deserve to have that voice, and I'm doing another, I'm holding a women's disability empowerment panel on Monday, M for All is, and these are women, most people likely have not heard of either. And I just feel a sense of obligation to, like a lot of people are already familiar with my story. I my disorder is rare, but my story is not at all. So I think it's important to just kind of give other people a platform. It's very like pardon the quote, but not me, us. That's kind of how I like to do things.
Why don't we have Medicare for all? Like, what's your opinion on that?
I think the easiest answer is money in politics. I think that is like, if there's one sentence, I think it's that. It's, basically there are no elections, there are purchases. So as long as, like, okay, I'm in Pennsylvania and I have this dude, Bob Casey, and Bernie came out with this legislation to cap prescription drugs at Canadian prices. And Casey voted against it. And why did he? He had over $200,000 in big pharma donations. So I started a petition. I went to his office because I'm right next to Harrisburg. Walked in his office and dumped all my prescription pill bottles on his desk and gave him the petition. And I'm like, this is like,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
By the way.
I was just like, I live right by Harrisburg. They know me there. They know me because I'm gonna use that. Like, so that is just one of so many examples of, all of these donations are public, and people may say, well, it doesn't matter because it's just to run their campaign. But here's what it's saying: when you take even $100 from Pfizer, you are now saying, I have your back. I will not make you regret this $100. You are investing in the fact that I will not hurt your profits. That is what that contractual money means. It doesn't have to be in writing. Every politician knows this. Every rich person knows this. And I think, unfortunately, there's still so much cognitive dissonance and people, especially as far as Dems, everybody wants to believe, oh my God, but they're still better, but they're not doing anything. That's the point. So without holding people accountable, nothing is going to change. When people, constantly obfuscate and use attempt rationalizations and refuse to hold politicians accountable, why would they change? For what? They're allowed to do it and they get your vote anyway. So that is also a huge part of it. And because frankly, as Americans, we ask, we don't demand. If you look at other countries, like if you look at like France or UK, I mean, they literally will call up their neighbor and be like, yo, we're getting in the streets. And like 100,000 people are in the streets like that night. We don't do that here. We have, we're, filled with apathy, and we're just like, it is what it is. And unless there is an actual uprising of demand, we are not taking this anymore. People are dying. This is eugenics of the poor is what we are watching right now. And we are done standing by and letting it happen unless and until enough people get the balls to say and do that. I just don't know that it would happen. Honestly, I really don't. That's why we organize things like this, with the hopes of bringing people out to reinvigorate that fire and just say, look, we need to do something. Posting on Twitter does not do anything. Like, let's get in the streets. They need to listen to us. And telling them they're assholes on Twitter doesn't really accomplish anything. It might feel good, but it's not giving people health care.
What is making people not do anything though? I mean, like, I'm one of them. I don't march in the streets, and now I'm like, I mean, I should be. What is it that makes people not get? I mean, I feel like in America right now, something crazy huge has to happen, and then for like 5 days we're all fired up, and then Johnny Depp says something on Twitter and everybody's distracted again.
Yep.
How on earth do we get people focused on this?
I think the thing that I try to do more than anything, that I find people respond to the most, is sharing personal stories. Taking cameo videos from people about sharing their heartache, sharing what it's like to receive one bill after another, to have GoFundMes, to not be able to, feed their kids because they keep getting, hospital bills. I mean, I have heard it all. 2 days ago, a woman DM'd me and said, I follow you and I appreciate your work, and I wanted to tell you that I'm in a very abusive relationship, and my husband, well, she said partner, my partner is the one who has the insurance. Me and my son have medical needs. So because of that, I have been unable to leave my abusive partner. And these things, people don't think about these things. So I think saying things like these, I posted later that night, I was sent an article that said that women who go to, the emergency room for a rape kit get billed for it. Get billed. Like, the victims are being victimized. It's insanity. So I think just, even using a platform to get the words out, like, we are seeing, women, abortion rights, everything, as we should. But I want people to understand that, while Planned Parenthood has done so many amazing things, without question, and they have, done phenomenal work, I want people to realize that that is not enough. They work on a very specific kind of women's needs. What about women who have cancer? What about women who have, things that are not reproductive? There are a million things. Like me, I couldn't go to Planned Parenthood. There are so many things. Women have, disabilities with, or things like that cannot go to Planned Parenthood. And Planned Parenthood does not support Medicare for all. They have come out against it numerous times. And I think it's very obvious that that's because they feel it would shut them down, essentially, which, it
probably would, because people, like, they do reproductive cancer screenings and stuff like, but people will do that because they can't afford, because they'll do things on a sliding scale. And and I think it would shut them down, and they're a big organization at this point.
I totally agree. And I think there's something that we could do to, I still feel like there's something that could be done to keep them going. But I think that when people say that things like Planned Parenthood are equivalent to women's health, I think we need to realize that is equivalent to part of women's health. And women deal with much more than what they can help with. So to me, anybody who says they're a feminist who is not fighting tooth and nail for everything, meaning dental, vision, hearing, literally everything, that's not being feminist. That's being exclusionary. That's being, selective. To me, feminism is literally every single part of your body should be covered in healthcare, especially including if you're LGBTQ, which a lot of times people focus on, women and things like that, but we need to keep our allies in mind as well. So yeah, I think it's important that, when people are talking so much about women's healthcare right now, that we keep in mind that healthcare needs to be promoted as a whole, not just abortion rights.
Yeah, I've noticed myself that women's health care in this country is far worse than men's. Just little things like when my wife had our son, she had to go through hell to get any kind of care and I'm in Vermont. So you'd think everything would be amazing here, but it was pretty incredible. Now I get a vasectomy, and they like, here's some prescriptions for you. Here you go, just for any pain you have, and here's some Valium. And she's just like, I had a baby, and it was a really rough, delivery, and she was having the hardest time getting any kind of help at all. And that's just the man's world thing. I mean, it has to be. It's just ridiculous.
Yes, there are actual studies that show that women, and then of course you have other populations, women of color, get even worse.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, get even worse care. So it is proven that. I've pulled up several studies, in the work that I do, and it's just because the whole system is structured around men, also. So like a lot of times there aren't even enough clinical trials that include women because they don't want to deal with the hormones as a factor. And, like it's such a big mess. And so many people are making so much money off of like us being sick and staying sick that Joy, I think you're right. Unless enough people constantly get out there and like, we are not accepting this anymore. I don't see a way for it to stop because too many people are profiting off of it. And then you do have these huge players paying off the politicians to rig the system in their favor.
And I don't know if you guys saw this, but today an article came out that Amazon is buying insurance companies.
Yep.
So, I mean, we are so screwed. And Biden is trying to privatize Medicare. He's pushing Medicare Advantage, which if there are any disabled people or people over 65, please do not ever, 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 ever sign up for Medicare Advantage. It is horrible. I've worked in it. It is awful. It will cost you so much money, and it is not a good program. And that's what Biden wants to force feed everyone, and he wants to privatize Medicare, and it's scary. It's definitely scary.
Yeah, I had this affect me as well, or our family. My wife's Nana came and lived with us because she had she was stage 5. She had stage 5 kidney disease, and her son was paying her bills for what's it Medicare, and they had a feud, and he stopped. And she just isn't aware of that stuff. Like, it's just not in her wheelhouse of bills and stuff. So one day I went to go get her prescriptions, and it was gone. And she takes about 11 pills. So basically we had to max out our credit cards for the summer. And then finally somebody told us that UVM, which I didn't know, and I hope somebody hears this that needs to know. They have a policy. It's called like nobody goes without prescriptions, which is amazing. And literally, since then, her prescriptions have been free. Like that
And
was
what's
like
it
2 years.
called?
I'm pretty sure it's called nobody goes without prescriptions. It's probably better than that for word wise, because we signed up for it a long time ago. And yeah, so the thing is, we didn't sign her up for Medicare again because of this. Because if you did, now it's like 1,100. It's like 800 to, depending on where you are in the cycle, could be $1,100 for the month. Without Medicare, without anything, it was like $3,500 for all of her meds, and that's why our credit cards went for that summer. So yeah, it's insane. So someone can obviously afford to give it for free. Thank you, UVM.
Yeah, we have a gentleman who's going to be speaking in DC whose daughter takes insulin, and he has gone to Canada and Mexico to buy it because, I mean, like many people, it's $27 there.
Yeah.
And it's over 400 here.
So we know why politicians aren't voting for it, but why are people still voting for the politicians that are against their best interest? What is going on there? I mean, I have ideas, but please help me figure it out, because it's so maddening sometimes.
It is, and I think it's like an abusive relationship. You just keep going back and thinking it's going to change this time. No, they've been in politics 50 years, but now it's different. This is the most important election of our lives. Last one was, but now this one really is. And I think it's just blatant denial that the Dems are acting exactly like the Republicans, and they're doing less than nothing. Biden is appointing a freaking judge who is pro-life, and but like there's this selective outrage. Red is bad, blue is good. Blue cages are better, blue medical debt is better, blue everything is better as long as Dems are elected. And that thinking is so dangerous. And unfortunately, there's enough of people who think that way that it just perpetuates it. And these people are just going to keep getting elected, and it's going to keep the cycle. It's sad that someone only has to have a certain letter at the end of their name to be able to get away with anything. I mean, Biden just said he had cancer and nobody cared. I'm like, oh my God. Like, can you imagine if Trump was like, accidentally said he had cancer? Like, people would lose their shit. But it's that selective outrage. It's, I literally had someone in my comments when I said that Biden was, appointing a pro-life Republican judge. And they said, well, it was going to happen anyway. He was just beating them to it. What?
No.
Like, this is how desperate they've gotten. They are trying to convince themselves so desperately, to the point that, and I think some of them just don't want to admit that they've been duped. Some of them just don't want to admit that they have been fed absolute lies. And it is a rude awakening. I went through it in 2015. I've voted Dem my whole life, and I was just like, I was like, yes, Obama, yes. And then in 2015, I became politically active, and I started like doing actual research and things like that. And I'm like, holy shit, like, there is so much going on that I had no idea about. And I think it's that fear of knowledge, that fear of understanding just how bad things are. It's in a way, I kind of admire it. Sometimes I'm like, damn, like ignorance really is bliss, I guess. Like I kind of, I fantasize about being like that, just having 24 hours where I could just shut off my brain and not know any of the stuff I know. Because as an empath, it it literally like it slowly kills you, just watching so many people in pain. I have people who reach out to me literally every single day and tell me their stories. And it kills me that I can't help them. Like, all I can do is listen. I, and it sucks because I know every single one of them is always like, I hit up my rep and they don't care. And every single one of them has tried everything to no avail. And I think that's when people are just like, fuck it, I give up. This is hopeless. Why keep putting this energy in when nothing is happening?
Yeah, it's true. God, it's so depressing.
So I totally agree with you. I'm like, what? Because I'm watching the news all the time, and you're just like, everything is awful, and everything is on, and so many people just, like just. I'm like, what is it like to be totally oblivious to that, or to just really think like, yeah, the next wave of Democrats that we elect, like this time it'll work. I'm like, what is that like in my neighborhood, for example, like when Biden won, like I was walking the dog and like people were like having a little parade, like cars honking and all of that. And I was just like, why? Like, this is not going to get better. This is not going to get you.
No.
Like, what do you think you've gotten? Like it was just.
Yeah, wait
Absolutely.
till DeSantis gets in office.
Oh, that I'm telling you. And you know what? Tulsi will be as VP.
Yeah, that's going to be like so much worse than Trump because he's actually competent.
That's the thing. Trump had connections, but he had no political, clout whatsoever. You take someone like DeSantis in there, oh my God, Trump is a cakewalk.
Yeah.
It is going to be bad. And, if the Dems lose, which they quite likely may, it's on them. And we're going to have to pay for their karma, just like we did when they fucked Bernie in 2016 and in 2020. And, it's just, it's going to be on them, but they'll make bank. Their donations are going up as soon as, Roe v. Wade happened. Their donations.
Yeah, they had the fundraising. And I've worked in that, like, I'm like, you didn't just write that today. You all had this, that's the thing that people don't think about. I'm like, they didn't just write this today.
Yep.
Somebody composed this a few weeks ago. So they're already prepared. So it's like, think about that. They have been preparing to ask you for money instead of actually doing something about it.
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. Biden has the ability through executive order to do so many things, including Medicare for all. There is it's called 1881A, and Libby, Montana, their air quality was bad and it was making people sick. So in Libby, Montana, they came up with 1881A, which gave them all Medicare for all, everybody in Libby. And this was 4 years ago. They still have it. So because we've been in a pandemic, Biden literally could have done an executive order of 1881A over 2 years ago. So the 1/3, over 200,000 people who died from COVID because they had no insurance could still be alive, in addition to the 68,000 other ones who die every year and things like that. He could have given it to every single person in our country. He knows. There's no way he doesn't know.
Is this the end of our empire? It's been over 200 years, isn't it? Are we gonna go down now? Because I feel like that's where it's all headed. I know that sounds a little doomy, but I feel like America, it's time to step down, and it's kind of the timing is right. It feels like that to me anyway. I didn't used to feel this way. I used to be all optimistic. Um, I always thought, well, rich people and the politicians, sure, they're stealing money from everybody, but they don't want America to fail, so they'll just ride it out to the end and then bring it back. They'll keep pulling it back. That was kind of how I was explaining everything. But I think they're kind of too greedy and stupid now to save anything. I think they're going to take too much.
Absolutely. They've been getting away with things far too long to change it now. And that's why I interviewed Stephen Donziger recently, and I said, is the power of the people stronger than the people in power? And he said, yes. And if there's one person who could make me feel that way, it's Stephen, because of everything he's gone through. So the fact that he still believes that does give me some hope. But it's up to us to activate these people. And that's one of the things I love about organizing so much, is because when you are in that moment and you are standing with people, that is the only true solidarity there is. You may think you have comrades online and stuff, and you do, but when you are standing there and you are next to each other and you are embracing each other and you have your fists in the air and you are listening to people's pain and you are holding your signs and you are marching with them, like, there is no better feeling. That is solidarity. That is so inspiring. So that's why I love doing stuff like this so much. Everyone leaves feeling like invigorated, like it's a new start. Let's go.
Wow. Yeah. I feel like I've missed out a lot because we have marches in Vermont, but I always feel like it's like, I don't know, weird to march in Vermont sometimes because it's like we already agree, so do you. Like I wish I would have done more, and I guess
Oh, you're in Vermont?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Vermont. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's a wonderful place for sure. That actually reminds me, we both know somebody. We both know Bernie. Well, I mean, I saw a picture of you with him.
Oh yeah, I've met Bernie probably 15 times now.
Yeah,
at least.
He used to come into Costco when I worked there, so that's how I first met him.
He loves Costco.
He does.
Yeah, I was in Vermont because I was going to his birthday party. You know how he does the birthday on the boat?
Yes.
On Lake Champlain.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Ethan Allen.
Yep.
Oh wow.
14-hour train ride.
Nice.
It was worth it.
Oh yeah.
So how do you get invited to Bernie's birthday party?
I'm
curious about this.
I harassed everyone I knew. That, I mean, I knew a lot of people on the campaign and just kept, come on, like literally, like it became my full-time job in my head. I gotta go. So yeah, I just kept harassing people until it happened.
And how was it then?
Oh my God, watching him and Jane dance, and oh my God, there were maybe 200 people, very intimate. It was at sunset on Lake Champlain, and there was music and an open bar and cake and food, and oh my God, it was wonderful. Everybody just had such a blast. It was awesome.
Well, that's great.
You usually don't get to see him intimately like that, because the times I've met him have typically been at rallies. But I went from Pennsylvania and I moved to Iowa for 5 weeks to volunteer during the primary. So I met him around Iowa numerous times there too.
Yeah, I love when I hear things online about Bernie's like, 6 mansions and he drives like a Maserati or whatever. I'm just like, no, we see him. He's driving like a hybrid, like little car.
Like, I've literally met the dude when he had duct tape on his shoes,
Yeah.
but okay.
Yeah, exactly. If you take a commercial flight out of Burlington, you'll probably sit near Bernie at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Without a doubt. It's and the weirdest thing was during the primary, like our local news would be like Bernie and Jane coming home from going to the store, and they're just in a car, and I'm like, shouldn't there be guards, a security? Like, he's in a primary, for God's sake. He's just like, how you doing? I'm like,
We used to
get inside.
so mad. We'd be like, in 2016, you had codename Intrepid. Where are you? Why don't you have guards? What are you doing?
Yeah.
He just, no.
Yeah, it was weird.
Oh my God.
That's why I just scream at the TV, like, where's the security?
Seriously.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Do you remember when you were on the lake, do you remember, did they have a band?
Oh my God, they did. And they had a washboard as one of the instruments, and it was amazing. It reminded me of when I was in New Orleans. It was very like organic and very almost like honky tonk type thing. And they were doing like honky tonk organic covers of like 50s and 60s hits.
I wonder who it was.
Really weird.
Because I know a lot of bands in the area. So I'm just wondering who it was. I'm gonna have to look that up, unless you remember the name. But
oh, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I'll
I
have to look
don't
that up.
remember.
Jayson has me convinced that every person in Vermont knows each other.
That could be. I mean, I organized a thing the night before at a bar, and I cannot think of what it was called, but it had like 1 million lights. It was in Burlington, like 1 million lamps. And I had like Dave Zuckerman speak, and just a bunch of people the day before Bernie's birthday party. So yeah, I met a lot of people, and Mike the mall punk. I love Mike.
Oh yeah, actually, my friend went to school with him. That old video you're talking about with Bernie. Yeah, I was showing her that. She's like, I went to school with him in Burlington. So yeah, we all do know each other. It's at least 2 or 3 degrees of separation at most.
It's such a fascinating thing to me, like, because I mean, I live in Los Angeles now, so like, I didn't grow up here, but I grew up in an area like in Baltimore, in the county where like people do, like, everybody knows everybody, at least in that area. And I was like, I do not like this, get me out of here. But yeah, it's so different, like being in LA, because you get out like so different, like so many people. And so I've been out of that frame of mind of like, oh yeah, people know each other. And so every time he tells a story about people in Vermont, I'm like, does everyone know each other? And like but at least even in my experience in Maryland, it was still like the county, or like it wasn't like the whole state. It seems like in Vermont, it's like the whole state. Everybody somehow knows everybody.
Yeah, we all bonded back when we only had 3 channels and 3 news shows. We all knew each other because like, oh, Fred's cows got out, and now that generation has just moved up to now. So now that we're on the internet, we're all Facebook friends. It's really weird. It's true. It's bizarre.
Like so Joy, talk about your efforts right now on like the March for Medicare for All, and what's going on, and how can people support it? What do you need now?
Yeah, for sure. So last year we did, we started with one march in DC, and then New York and LA signed on. And then by July 24th, we had marches and actions in 56 cities across the country. and that was a little bit of work. So we were all kind of like, we didn't anticipate that happening, but people just kept saying, can we do one? Can we do one? And it was, we're all volunteers. So we were just like, wow, this is insane, but hell yes, hell yes, bring it on. So this year, we decided let's do one big one right in front of the Capitol, and let's just all come from across the states. And we have speakers from across the states. All of our teammates are from across the states, and we're just all going to DC. Our week of action starts tomorrow. Indianapolis is doing a solidarity march with us tomorrow to kick off the week of action. Monday, well, the easiest thing is to go to M4 all.org. We have things you can do every single day up until the day after the march, which is July 30th, even if you aren't in DC area. So we're doing things like sidewalk chalking or honkin' waves, things like that. It may not sound like a big deal, but they are fun and they get attention. So like, go to the dollar store, grab some Sharpies and some, poster board, just make signs, go stand on a busy corner and hold signs that say Medicare for all. You're going to have people honking. You're going to have people join you. I mean, it is so much fun. I always love doing those. So we have actions every day leading up to the March, July 30th. And then the day after, we will be doing mutual aid in DC with bag lunches and feminine products and socks for the unhoused. So we have a lot going on. We have something big on Thursday and something big on Friday, but we are not disclosing it because we don't want like popo there. It's nothing bad or illegal or but we do have some haters out there who do not want us to succeed because we are actual volunteers and actually fight for this. But let's just say we'll be doing some civil disobedience, some direct actions, some protests. There's going to be some fun stuff. And if you follow us on Twitter at M4all, we'll be posting details each day. So if you're in DC area and want to join us on Thursdays, Friday, and so on, check that day. We'll be posting locations. So yeah, we definitely have a lot planned. We're excited. We've been working on this for months. So it's a lot, but it'll be worth it.
And that link is in the description, just so you know.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So for anybody watching, well, now or later, you can look in the description and click on the link. That is, if I used to live in DC. I'm like, if I was still living in DC, I would definitely be there. It's gotten super pricey to fly back from LA at this point.
And your flight will be canceled.
And who knows if I would actually get there based on what's been going on now. You're right.
Yeah, seriously. Well, and also before I forget, we are still taking donations. As I said, we are all 100% volunteer. All of us are broke as fuck. We pay for our own way as far as travel, and our Airbnb is literally fitting 11 people with 2 bathrooms and bunk beds. And we are really trying our best to be frugal because we have no money. So But there's so many expenses that go along with doing something like this, like just for a wheelchair ramp for the stage, $2,000 to rent it.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
no lie, $2,000 to rent a wheelchair ramp for a stage. These are the expenses we run into. ASL interpreters, those are over $1,000. Renting speakers and sound, and I mean, there's so many, things that go into this. And we spend months trying to get like the least expensive, and stuff like that. But it's sometimes like, we just end up using our charge cards. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't go without it. So even if everyone chips in like $5 or something, it helps us so much.
Yeah. When I edit, I'll put that in the description too. I think I have that link in there too, but I'll add that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That's wow. $2,000 for a ramp.
Like, how ableist is that?
It's like something someone should offer. Hey, do you need a ramp?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's bananas. I couldn't believe it. Crazy.
Yeah, that's really shocking, because you would think if you're getting a state or something else that would be a low price, like extra, they would have accommodations
right
for disabled people, like, oh yeah, do you need this ramp, like $50 extra, or it should be like a cheap add-on
right
to whatever.
Oh, well, let me correct myself. It was $1,500 if you wanted the non-ADA one.
Oh, why is there a non-ADA?
That's what I was like. Okay, listen, do you want her to fall through or something? I don't understand what a non-ADA one. And then they were like, and you have to sign a contract and stuff. And I'm just like, and people are like, why don't you use different kinds of wood and build one and stuff? And I'm like, no. Like, it needs to be ADA. Like, this is not, like, we're talking about Reverend Annie Chambers. Okay, first of all, Black Panther, revolutionary, like, no, she deserves to have dignity and have, she deserves a throne, but, we can't afford that, unfortunately. But no, like, I know people are trying to help when they say things like, why can't you just build one? But like, it's about safety. And that is simply not feasible. We're not going to put anyone's safety at risk to save money. That's not going to happen.
What is
right, because
ADA?
we're not a big corporation.
Yeah.
Right, like, we don't have insurance to like pay for damages and stuff.
What is ADA?
It's the disability access, American Disability Access. My brain.
Oh, okay. It's like
oh my God,
regulations.
Yeah, like the regulations in terms
right.
of like in a building, like how
okay.
doorways, like all sorts of things. So like ramps.
OSHA for civilians kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like an OSHA for disability, exactly.
Okay.
But it's very antiquated. It was written decades ago. It has not been updated for transportation.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like Reverend Annie, when she takes the train in DC, a city, she needs to press a button for a lift to get her on. Unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable. I cannot believe that, like, you cannot just go on the train in a wheelchair. That's crazy. And then some places don't even have elevators still, which is against the law, but it's not enforced.
Yeah, it's like a grandfather clause or something. If you're building certain age or something like that.
Right, exactly.
Shouldn't it be illegal to be able to offer a non-ADA ramp? Like, it seems like if there's an ADA, then you shouldn't be able to do it.
I feel like that was like an under the table thing.
We can get you a ramp real cheap.
Like, let me tell you guys. I like you, so let me tell you what I can do. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God! It almost like it's either $2,000 or if you meet me at 2 a.m. in the morning, I can do it for $1,500, and it's not an ADA.
It's not a swatch. It's a swatch, but still, it looks the same.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I would imagine, like, so even if people don't see this, like, because it's coming up on the 30th, right? Like, I would still imagine that donations would be helpful, right? Like, because I'm sure that you all have a lot of costs.
She's not done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we are planning actions throughout the year. Our marches get the most, traction and what have you, because they're big events. But we're also, I mentioned 1881A. We're actually working with human rights lawyers to file an official grievance and complaint with the United Nations for not enacting 1881A during a pandemic and letting all those people die. So we will be going to New York with human rights lawyers to file this officially. So we have other actions we're working on. So yes, donations are certainly helpful always. But yeah, right now we have a whole lot of debt for the 30th.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty incredible too, that you're working with those lawyers to do that.
We're hoping that at the very least, it at least gets coverage, because so many people don't know what is 1881A. So the more people realize, holy shit, like Biden literally could have done this. Like he could have saved my neighbor by the stroke of a pen. Like the more people know this, the more outraged they should be. So we're hoping at the very least, we'll get some news coverage and people will be like, wow, this is crazy. This is a human rights violation. And hopefully it'll at least, start conversations.
Yeah, I think like having worked in media for so long, and especially like in the health space, the sad thing about that is like how much pharma owns them too. And like so many of the advertisement placements, and like there are so many partnerships that I suspect that's a very good reason for why things like this don't get coverage.
Absolutely. And our plan next Friday is gonna hopefully change that.
Nice.
I really want to know.
I'll tell you guys that when we're off there.
All right. And
like I said, I repeat, nothing bad, nothing illegal.
Are you going to have Bernie parachute in?
No, nothing like that. See, that's the thing. We, M for All tries to stay away from electoral politics just because we want to keep it about the issue itself, because a lot of people think it's a Dem issue, but it's really not, because we know that, if we say 84% of people support Medicare for all, that does not mean 84% of Dems. That means everyone. And Medicare for all literally means all. So we don't even bring, there's no candidates, there's no reps speaking, anything like that. We try to keep it so that regardless what party affiliation, regardless if you are a party affiliation, this is about humanity and not about politics. So we like to just keep it that way. Now, that being said, we have met with representatives, and for all has, on, as the organization to hold them accountable. We've met with several. 3 of us went to DC to meet with Congressman Ro Khanna. He actually asked us So we went to DC, and I brought about $15,000 worth of medical debt that I accrued within the 2 years since I started going blind, and I have insurance. So it's like a folder about that big. I brought that and I held it up and I said, this is $15,000 worth of medical debt, and I have insurance. And, you know, we talked for over an hour, and because of that meeting, me and my 2 comrades from marchformedicareforall had with him, he is now working on a medical debt cancellation bill with Bernie. So this is, you know, when you hold people accountable, things can happen. If we like, I think people think like when we say we met with reps, they think we're like going in like, hi, oh my God, thank you so much for meeting with us. No, I was like 100% Savage Joy the entire time. You know, he was like, would you vote for Biden in 2024? I was like, no. He's like, even if he's against Trump, I was like, no. Like, I don't have to lie to you for anything. So it's about being real. It's about being honest. It's about telling them, you work for us. You work for us. So, and then we met with Rashida Tlaib and said, look, straight up, you ran on Medicare for all. You don't talk about it. Like, what's going on? Where are you? I said to Rashida, I literally cried in your arms in Iowa while I started to go blind, and you cried with me, and you held my hands, and you embraced me, and you promised me you would fight for people like me, and I don't see you anywhere. And it just felt, oh my God, I've been waiting to say that to her for so long, for like 2 years. And it just felt so good to say something. And I said, you know, I'm going to be honest. I was a disabled speaker for Force the Vote, and you disappointed me beyond words, because I thought if there was one person who would have stood up for us and taken that move, it was going to be you. And she said, well, I understand your disappointment. And I was like, I don't think you do. So I want people to understand there is no buddy when we meet with these people. And when we ask them to meet with us, we are very clear why we want to meet with them. We do not, hey, we're huge fans. That's why they meet with us, because they have everyone licking their boots 24/7. And then they have people who are willing to hold them accountable. And they're like, oh shit, I better meet with them. I'm going to try and, you know, basically politician them, you know what I mean? And it hasn't worked on us, because we're not going to squash an opportunity to say what a bajillion other people wish they had a chance to say.
Yeah, I think you're so right. It's about, they need to feel uncomfortable, like, because
absolutely,
look how uncomfortable everybody in this country is.
Exactly.
You know, like,
exactly.
So they have to feel it, you know, and that's, good for you all for doing that, like, really. And, you know, and I hope more people will do that and realize, like, yeah, it's not about, like, I think people, you see a lot of this narrative around, like, the squad, you know, people, and they're like, oh, well, we don't want to be mean to them, or, you know, if we're mean to them, then they won't do this. And to me, it's like, it's not about being mean to anybody. It's not personal, right? Like, you're not talking about them as a person. You're saying, like, you made some promises here. I supported you based on these things, and what's going on, you know, and, like, here's how I'm suffering because of your inaction. And I'm like, to me, that is not personal at all.
Exactly. Exactly. And now it came out today that AOC said, essentially, I'm not doing healthcare right now. And I believe that because we asked everyone on the Progressive Caucus to meet. Pramila sent her legislative assistant because she wasn't in DC, so that was nice. But AOC responded, her person responded with, "We will be declining this meeting." Didn't say why, didn't say I'm busy, didn't say you're not a constituent, didn't say go F yourself. It just said, we'll be declining. And, you know, I had AOC on my show back in the beginning, and she straight up lied, oh, I'm gonna, let's bring the ruckus and blah, blah, blah. Oh, really? Where are you? Where are you? Because I see you on Vogue magazine. I see you on, RuPaul's Drag Race. I see you doing these things while people, even your own constituents, are being, are unhoused and are suffering. And you're too busy, like, going to the Met Gala and stuff like that. Like, it's not okay. And people need to understand that's not an attack. That's accountability. That's us saying, look, we got you elected. We did that. You could not have won if it weren't for indie media, if it weren't for your volunteers, if it weren't for your donations. And then you turned around and you gave over $100,000 of other people's donations to establishment hacks like Connor Lamb from my state, who is a straight up Republican. And I mean, why that didn't turn people off, I can't even, like, if you give my money to someone else, I'm going to lose my shit, but that didn't even piss off her fans.
It's like this celebrity worship, now. And I think, like, she has succumbed to, like, this careerism. And I think she likes being a celebrity now that she's had that. It's like, oh, wait a minute. If I do all these things that I promised, I'm going to be out of the club.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to be able to enjoy all these lovely perks. And so, I think things are going pretty well for me right now.
Absolutely.
And and I think I think what drives me crazy is the people that are like, things are not going well, right? And they're still like, oh, yay, AOC, or, I'm like,
yes,
no,
queen.
Tell them how things are going for you, and tell them why this isn't working. So I so support all of the work that you do, and that, everybody that's working with you is doing, because it's so needed.
Thank you so much.
Do you think that, like, they come in fiery and want to make changes, and then they just get romanced by the system? Yes. Or is it? Wow.
I think, like, there are even old videos, I think, of Nancy Pelosi talking about Medicare for all. And then I saw that, and then I was like, oh my God, AOC is that, like, those memes that have been going around, that is the same trajectory, because you put them in that system, and that's what happens.
Literally, Obama campaigned for Bernie back in the day. Obama.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
Yeah.
You can find videos on YouTube. It's freaking outrageous. Obama was all about, oh yeah, Medicare for all. They change when they get in. Now, some people frustrate me more because I really, really do believe they went in with the right intentions. I do. Like Rashida, I do in my heart believe she went in with the right intentions. And as much as she pisses me off, she cried when we met with her and said, I started this job and I did it because I thought I could make a difference. And now I realize I just work with the establishment all day and I could make more of a difference in my community and stuff. And she broke down, like, she legit broke down. And I saw a human side to her. Now, that doesn't mean I support her now or think, I'm going to excuse anything she did. But it's the most human side of a politician I've seen. So that was refreshing in that regard. And I don't like seeing people cry, that was upsetting. But, so, I truly do think she started as a protester and things. She was arrested for protesting, things like that. People who started as activists, I think started with good intentions, like Cori Bush. She was hardcore activist. She was, she was a nurse without health care. She was houseless, the whole nine. But the second she got in, she just dropped everything. I mean, that was the quickest turnaround I've ever seen in my life. Man, I thought she was going to be a force to be reckoned with, and she just immediately capitulated. So do I think she went in for the right reasons? I do, but I thought it took maybe 5 minutes before she did a 180.
Do you think that there's also something like the US and our culture that individualism, right, that's like so pervasive? Do you think that might be coming into play here when some of these people, come from that activist background and then they get in and it's like, oh, I gotta take care of myself,
That's a valid point. Absolutely. That's definitely a valid point. But I think, when it comes to things like, force the vote and things like that, Pelosi hates you. She makes fun of you. She makes derogatory comments to you. She says things like the green dream or whatever it is. And she, mocks you and she can't stand you. And then you are too scared to stand up to her. You are too, okay, mama bear, and nobody's even asking them to do it on their own. There's 4 of them, well, even more now. But speaking of the squad, Jamal Bowman, okay, so he's one of the people we reached out to him. No, he won't talk to us, only if he gets a speaking spot in DC. That's a no. He knows we're not going to be like, hi, buddy. Not going to happen.
I got to stop because we've been ignoring the chat because we've been so engrossed in your conversation. Oh. So there's a couple questions in here that I'm going to read for you. So Drew has a couple questions here. So the first one is, with all these structural barriers, what is the path to actually passing Medicare for all?
Well, I mean, honestly, the way that it's going to happen is the way that change has always happened. And it's going to be when people get in the streets and demand it. We are not seeing change in electoral politics. It doesn't happen. It hasn't happened. Civil rights movement, people in the seat. Women vote in the street, women voting, people in the street. Gay rights movement, people in the street. We need a serious uprising. We need people. I cannot believe COVID started and all those people were out of jobs and all those people 13-hour lines at food banks and stuff, and there was not an uprising. I absolutely cannot believe that. It blows my mind that did not cause like a UK style, let's get in the fucking streets, end of story. And we cannot count on politicians to do it. I don't care which politicians, I don't care how much you love them, I don't care. I have a Bernie tattoo. He pisses me the hell off. I put no faith in politicians. At this point, I'm done with electoral politics. It's doing nothing. And thinking we're gonna, get changed by, oh, well, next year we'll get in more progressives and more of the squad. And well, what are they doing now? How much time do we have that we're focusing on this? Well, these candidates are running and this. Who cares? Who cares? Let them get elected. Let them prove who they are, and then we'll talk. But right now, they're just candidates. So that means nothing to me. I've had over 200 candidates on my show in the 5 years I've done shows. I just had the first one in 14 months, Matthew Ho, because he stuck out to me, and he's not, he's green. And he's special. He stuck out to me. So I gave him a chance, and I'm glad I did, because he's wonderful. But, you know, that's someone who is taking on the machine. That is someone who is, he filed a lawsuit because of the way the Dems are treating him and trying to get his petition thrown out and things like that. So he's taking on the machine. That's the kind of people we need, and we're not getting it through voting. So the only thing that is going to change things, undoubtedly, is getting in the streets, getting active. That's it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I also think, focusing on the issues and things that affect people, that is a much better way to unite people rather than getting behind this party or this candidate, right? Because so many people that are either independent or just have totally checked out, like they've still got medical bills, and they've still got all of these other issues that if you approach them and say, hey, want to do something about this, like you probably have a much better chance there than getting behind a particular candidate or a party.
Yeah, the country is so sports oriented. They pick a team. And so if you say, Republicans suck, Democrats are awesome, it isn't really about that. If you pick the topic, then that is the team you should be on. And you don't have to agree with them on abortion. It's about this. And if you believe in this topic, then you go with that team and not worry about which party, because it really is like that. It's just like, I mean, people are so partisan with everything. Like if you say, like you were afraid to say you didn't see Star Wars, that is a very American, right? You know what I mean? But like it's a common thing. Like it's an American thing. I feel you get in a group, and now you have to be ashamed or prideful about your group rather than what's actually going on, it seems.
Yeah, every time I criticize the Dems, I'm a Trump supporter every single time. And I'm like, exactly. I actually can think two people suck at the same time.
Yes.
Like I actually have that thinking capacity. So I actually just don't like rapists, warmongers, I just don't like them regardless what letters next to their name. Yes. I just don't like them. So but yeah, I mean, one of the things that's interesting about the Republicans is they don't have all this infighting that the so-called does. We work our asses off to organize. I mean, this is a full-time unpaid job, like hours and hours every day trying to get this to do these things. And we have people, no, not like that. Don't do it that way. That's stupid. I hope nobody comes. What's the point in that? Do you ever see Republicans doing that? Ever?
They all fall in line.
Yeah, let's go to the Capitol. Okay, when? I mean, that's the thing. They band together. Is it for good reason? Hell no. But the point is that doesn't happen on our side, or whatever you want to call it. We talk a lot. We don't do shit. Yeah. And then when people do shit, they're, told, oh, you're grifters and you're, you're doing it wrong. And then you say, well, what's a better way to do it? And they never have an answer. And, punching down is just, it's just in this leftist atmosphere where it's just like gatekeeping and I am better than you and it's my way. or you're a fraud. And it's so sad. Like, being a disabled person who, volunteers her ass off for healthcare justice, having people come on my social media and say you're a grifter and stuff, when I literally am working a part-time job, like, as a blind person, like in a warehouse without air conditioning, just so I can try and supplement my disability. So, when I'm told I'm being a grifter just because I'm trying everything to volunteer to fight for a good cause, that is why we're not succeeding right there. Because if you are that ugly of a person that you are okay saying things like that to people who are fighting for you, then that's why we need to stop that shit, get in the streets.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna stop though. I think it's just like part of the left is this weird, like kind of like elitist thing.
Yeah.
It's really sad, but it's true. And like, I mean, the whole January 6th hearings that have been going on, one of my friends was like, God, that's been so amazing, so organized. I'm like, aren't the Republicans doing it? Like, I think they're doing it. That's why it's organized. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that organized if the Dems were doing it. It'd be a nightmare.
Like when the Dems, when the day after Roe v. Wade was overturned, the day after, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was footage of the House. Nancy Pelosi was in the first row on the Capitol steps singing God Bless America.
Yes, I
Oh my
did see.
God.
I saw that and I was like screaming.
So
at them.
uncomfortable.
Like, what the hell are you doing?
So
I'm
awkward.
like, you literally, like, I showed my husband the video and I'm like, look at the Republicans. And he's like, oh God, they're so predictable. I was like, yeah, that's actually Nancy Pelosi right there. He's like, that's the Dems. I was like, honey, when are you going to listen to me? Like, please start listening to me. That was the most Republican display. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
First of all, don't bring up God in the government. Stop with that shit. Like, who's God? And what, you're like a freaking choir now? Like, freaking amazing.
It was the most bizarre thing.
Super awkward.
I'm like, who came up with it? I really want to know who was like, hey guys, I know what we should do. Let's just sing a song. Like,
it's like a worst focus group ever.
I think that's how incredibly out of touch they are also with, like, they're so out of touch. And there are a lot of these elitist like supporters that are like the vote blue no matter who, that like, because they're fine, their salary's fine, they have insurance that's adequate enough, and so they're incredibly out of touch too with, like what's happening to people. And so they are just voting for these people and watching this going, yeah, this seems reasonable. And yeah,
I think, like, if anybody wants a reminder, there's screenshots online, and I've posted it myself when I got it in the mail. The DCCC, which is like the bastard child of the DNC, they sent out things in the mail, and the envelope said, I mean, have you seen the other guys? That was their slogan. So that is literally what they're pushing. We are garbage, but they are more garbage. So, like, they don't even try to lie anymore. They're just like, look, we're shit, but they're shit with an R. So vote for us.
And I know people that fall for that. Like, I've had so many arguments with people where they're like, yeah, but the other, I'm like, but they're both there. You're not going to get anything good either way. So why would you keep supporting them?
Yes.
You're going to get basically the same policies. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just, it just drives me nuts. And I don't know why people, instead of donating to these campaigns, like donate to to Medicare, March for Medicare for All, donate to like Direct Action and mutual aid and all of these things that are at least helping people or propelling a
Right.
cause forward. And that, like, because I used to, back in the early Bernie days, like, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll donate to him, and then I stopped. And I'm like, now I'll only donate to like mutual aid things or things that I think are gonna help people in some way.
For the issues,
Yeah.
if you give to grassroots, like legit grassroots organizers or mutual aid, it is going directly to that person. Whereas if you give to a candidate, you're giving it to someone who may change the day they get in or might lose. And that money just kind of went up in smoke. So, I mean, I just think, after Bernie, I'm like, I'm not giving to any politician ever again. Like, I'm just not. I'd just much rather, give it to mutual aid or GoFundMe.
What pisses you off about Bernie?
Oh my God. How much time do we have?
Well, that's up to you, actually. And Rena.
I love him and I will always love him, like always, because he woke me up and I respect my roots. And I will always, always love him for that. As of the past year or so, well, first of all, in 2020, he gave up. He didn't fight. He totally gave up. My friend Joe Biden, and I know, like, I've interviewed his brother Larry numerous times, and I know for a fact Bernie dropped out because of COVID. I know that for a fact. He was scared people were going out and voting during COVID, and Biden wouldn't agree to make all the elections mail order and stuff like that. I get it. But he stopped fighting before that. He stopped. He just gave up. And, he's just not the same. He's just not. I mean, I don't know. Like, I miss the Bernie that, would call out bullshit. I miss the Bernie that he's still the Bernie that, throws solidarity rallies for Amazon workers and things like that. I mean, he does a lot of great work. And like I said, I'll always love him, but I want the old Bernie. I want the old Bernie back. And I don't know if he's still there. I don't know what it is. Is he trying to retire on a different note? Like, I don't know. He's not who he was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I watch a lot of Chris Hedges, and he has talked on this topic, and and has said that it's just that Bernie was not willing to become like a Ralph Nader and totally become a pariah and get destroyed by the establishment. Like, he just, and that's like, if you really wanted to go all in on it, like, they're gonna fight you, and
Absolutely.
they're gonna probably like run your name through the mud, whether it's true or not, and destroy you. And that's what I've heard from Chris Hedges interviews, that he thinks like that's Bernie just didn't want to go that far.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And his brother, the first time I interviewed, we call him Uncle Larry, his brother Larry, he said that one of the hardest decisions Bernie ever made was should he or shouldn't he run again for 2020, because of what the slander, the bullying, the harassment had done to Jane, the grandkids, everything like that, and how it had just upended their lives. And just, I don't know, I don't think a lot of people know this, but there's a guy in federal prison right now because he threatened to decapitate Bernie. Like, he goes through a lot of shit. And a lot of people don't realize, what, I mean, like, let's look at other revolutionaries. Like, as much as I wanted him to be president, I think we all kind of had the same fear. So I get why he was so scared, and I get why he was scared to truly take on the establishment, but that doesn't mean we're not allowed to be disappointed, and we're not allowed to say, we believed in you, we had faith in you, we encouraged you, we got you to this point, don't abandon us. So, and I don't know if he knows, but I don't know if he knows. I hope he does not run again. And that's not because I wouldn't vote for him or whatever. I just hope he doesn't, because I think, well, he's 81, first of all, but also I think the harassment will be more than it's worth. I think we tried twice, and I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened in 2020, and it didn't. So, who do I want to run? I don't fucking know. Nobody. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's so true.
Not a damn person. I'll tell you what. AOC, an article came out that AOC and Pete Buttigieg are doing Taco Tuesdays together. Okay. I could see them running together in like 2028. Hands down, ticket, hands down, Pete and AOC. I could see that. Like, I'm calling it.
I believe you. Yeah.
I feel it. I feel it.
Technically, they could do it now because she'll be 35 after,
be 35.
right before the election.
But I don't think he'll never take on Biden, though.
No.
If Biden still, like, exists in 2 years, I don't know that anyone would.
Pete
have the
Buttigieg
balls.
is the biggest fake person, or the smallest fake person. Pete Buttigieg, he's such a fake person. He sounds like a used car salesman every time he speaks. Yeah. I cannot stand him. It's unbelievable how much I can't stand him.
Oh my God. I know.
I mean, I don't know why people don't notice. What?
Does he really have support? Like, are there really people that are out there that
Yeah.
are like, yeah.
But I think it's identity politics, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But you know what? All my gay friends hate him. Yeah. And they're like, we do not want our first gay president to be him because he sucks.
Yeah.
And he's establishment, and he's, but like, I think a lot of the people I talked to when I was campaigning for Bernie in Iowa, they were like, they had rainbow flags, and they were like, we need to elect, it was Hillary, first woman president. It was first gay, was a lot of the same. I heard it about Kamala. I heard it about Pete. It was never substance. You know what I mean? It was always like making history, which if we could make history, hell yes. But let's not just like do it to do it. Like, let's actually set a good precedent, because we have a first woman of color vice president, and she's not that great. So
she's another one I completely don't believe anything she says. It all sounds so like something's running in her head. That question. And she spits it out, and you're like, did she say anything? I don't know if she said anything.
It was a debate.
Yeah.
It was a debate.
Yeah.
And then that laugh, like after she says stuff like that, like that is the most disingenuous thing. Like,
I don't think everybody has that intuition. Like you said, you were an empath earlier. I'm very empathic myself, and sometimes I'm stunned that people don't see someone for who they are, and then I have to question myself. Am I just being over paranoid? Because maybe they see something I don't. Because if I see something they don't, I have to be willing to think that they see something I don't. But I go through that process, and I think other people, or a lot of people, don't go through any process at all. They just go, they said that, and I'm gonna believe it because I like how tall he is, or he like it's and it drives me nuts because I like people that believe Trump says when he says something that he has any caring at all have a deficiency in the empathy department. They don't get it. They're not, or the intuition. They're just not seeing it somehow. I don't understand it. It really bothers me because it's so clear sometimes, obviously.
It's that cognitive dissonance. They see what they want to, and they want to believe it's so hard that they're just in denial. They will twist themselves into pretzels to attempt to rationalize anything.
Yeah, I equate it to the same people that like, when you see like a TikTok video or a YouTube video and you go, oh God, that's obviously fake because they're acting badly. And then you see in the comments, some people completely believe it. I think it's the same exact thing. Some people are not wired to tell if somebody is being genuine or not.
Yep.
I do. I really think that. I think it's all about the amygdala.
Yeah. It's like when people, they do those like feel good stories. Oh, this boy sold $3,000 worth of lemonade to help his mother's cancer treatment. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Yeah, can we actually like think about why he needed to do that?
Yeah.
But like some people don't comprehend the deeper story.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh my God, what a sweet little boy. And my mind goes directly to this country is fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that. And there's so many of those stories, and they're spit out all the time and celebrated. And like,
I worked 3 jobs.
Like this is deeply depressing. What is celebratory about this? Like this means that the system is so broken that people are having to do things like somebody. There was another one. I think it was a teacher had cancer and needed to use didn't have enough PTO to take time off, and so then the colleagues donated PTO, and I'm like, that is the saddest thing. Like whenever I read these, I'm like, this is the saddest thing that I've heard. This is not okay. Mm-hmm. And they're propped up like, oh, what a wonderful thing. And I'm like, who's thinking that?
And it is wonderful that they did it, but that's not the point.
Yes.
It's used as an example of the American strength of fighting, and look how much we can suffer.
Right. Like bootstraps, people.
Bootstraps. Yeah. It's bizarre. I just don't get it at all. It frustrates me a lot. And I took a little break on Super Tuesday when Bernie got screwed. I was just like, you know what? I need to take a little break from all this because, wow. It was really hard. And I took about a half a year just break where I just stopped thinking about everything. And but then it just comes back again. If you have empathy, you can't help but care, and it's the reason why you say stuff instead of not say stuff. It's why you do something instead of not do something. Is really just it's in you or it's not.
Yeah, it's like a sense of obligation.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, like when I see, you pick your battles. Some people, there is no point to discuss with them because there is no discourse. They know what they know, and they're just gonna, throw pejoratives at you, and it's gonna be pointless. So, but I feel kind of obligated when, people are, saying something incorrect to point it out and just say, actually, what actually happens, or, something, or what's behind that is just because I don't know. And it's not to be sanctimonious. It's just, I feel like if someone knows something, they should share it.
Yeah. And you'd want to know if you were saying something wrong. You'd appreciate it.
Freaking
Yeah.
Like,
totally.
I've had people tell me in the comments, actually, the number you gave was wrong. And then I post a correction. Hell yeah, fucking tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me. I want to know. You know what I mean? Like, we're fallible.
Yep.
Like,
yeah. It's a team effort.
The fact that, like, you know, don't you dare correct me.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of hubris is just not acceptable. I'd prefer someone just say, you know, Joy, you referred to an article from blah, 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 but it was actually from XYZ. Like, fine, cool. I'll make a note. No harm done. But I think people are very, you know, defensive when things happen like that. And I just feel like I'd rather just, you know, I don't want to call people out, but education's so important. Like, we need to learn these things. We have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
one of the things that we've talked a lot about Medicare for All, and one of the things we'd like to do here, I'm assuming we're going to be winding down pretty soon because it's been a while. I'm fine. I can go till midnight, but I realize I'm alone there.
He'll go forever, and I'm like, we should maybe.
Yeah, I try to take care of other people now. I realize that my stamina on streaming is a little longer than other people, but on the Human Happy Hour, we try to think more about, like, try to get to know the person more, and just really quick, like, where did you grow up, like, exactly, and what was that like growing up? Because I'm interested.
I grew up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's kind of outside of Allentown. And then moved to Philly for a few years, and now I'm in Harrisburg area. So Pennsylvania, my whole life. It's not rural, you know, it was fine. Public school, you know, things like that. Nothing too exciting. Had kind of a, you know, boring life up until 12, and then my dad raised us. I have an identical twin sister, so that was always interesting, and I mean that sarcastically. So we were raised by my dad, which was kind of not fun during the teenage girl days. And you know, it was funny because he caught me with a boy one time in my room, and I lied and said I was a lesbian, so I wouldn't get in trouble. And then my best friend couldn't sleep over anymore. So it actually bad.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
I have no idea why I just shared that.
That's a good story, though.
Funny.
I like it.
Oh my goodness. So did you have to come clean with the lesbian thing and then get in trouble for the last?
No, because then I was like, then I'm going to get in trouble. I was with a boy. So I'll just, yeah. I mean, you know, growing up with my dad, he was like, you know, he was super like,
Pennsylvania.
Is there a boy calling you on the phone? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And no, not me.
I love when I meet someone from Pennsylvania, because Nana's from Pennsylvania, and we lived together for a really long time. So I have to ask you, what do you call the little thing in the corner that heats up a room? It's, you know, not the heater, but the
furnace.
No, it's like it's like metal bars, and you turn it on, and it radiates heat.
Oh, radiator.
You do say radiator?
Oh, I know. People say radiator.
All right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's not correct.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because it radiates heat. Okay. Good. Okay. All right. That's good. And like when something is in the corner and you kind of make it turn a little bit so that it's
catty corner.
Yeah. So do you say catty corner?
Yeah.
You do. Okay. That's wrong too.
What is it?
It's kitty corner. Well, it is
corner
in the Northeast. I know. It's
kitty corner. I've never heard that.
I've never heard that. Yeah, I also would say catty corner.
All right. Well, 1-1,
I
Nana.
gotta look that up because I'm sorry, I've never heard it. Do you mean like Kitty?
I've never spelled it. I'm not a literal literature major.
Bring it back.
I assume it's Kitty. I don't know. But yeah, kitty corner, radiator, kitty corner, and
Yuns.
Yuns. What's a yun? What's that? What's that?
Yuns?
Yeah.
You never heard yuns?
Not yet. What is it?
Oh, like you. Yuns better do this.
Oh,
like,
okay,
yuns
yeah.
Go here.
Oh, yeah, okay, definitely.
Yeah, that's totally PA.
Oh, okay, wow.
Totally. And we have a place by here called Lancaster. And I used to say Lancaster, and people would get so mad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not from here. It's Lancaster.
I knew that being from Maryland because I have been to Lancaster. so somebody taught me how to say that, obviously.
I thought it was weird when I went to Pennsylvania and all the streets are named really weird names like Swamp Bucket Road and stuff like
yeah, Apple Bottom Road.
Yeah.
There's Sassafras Lane.
Yeah.
That's one that's not too far from me.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff.
Yeah, and then they have the other roads that are named after kings.
Oh yeah. Yes. You'll
so
have
strange.
Like, Sassafras Road with like intersecting with like King George III.
Yeah, it's so odd.
Is there something going on? Like at some point, that was where the wealth divided.
Maybe.
Right.
What do you want me to do with this swamp bucket? Put it over there, and then it just stayed there and became Swamp Bucket Road. Or
there were podunks on this side, and
yeah,
bougie on this side.
Yeah, it was really strange when I visited there, driving around because in Vermont it's all like I don't know. I think we have pretty cool names, but they're all like kind of pretty.
Yeah,
and then like Hog Lane and stuff. It was just so odd. I was like, who would name this?
Oh my god!
How'd this get through some committee somewhere?
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, so what now? Did you live in a place? You said something about your dad. Hard to grow up, and obviously you can't be with boys in your room. Kind of a conservative household.
Oh no, he was. He's a conservative. He's 81 now, and he was raised by my grandmother was Pentecostal, and he was raised like that. But like, just until we like got to like 18, then it was like whatever.
Right.
Like then you're what you want kind of thing. But no, I think it was more like, you're my responsibility now, so you're going to do this and that. But it was like we didn't have chores or anything. It wasn't, it wasn't, we didn't have chores, like, whoa. But yeah, it wasn't super strict, just as far as boys.
Now, is it hard is it hard on your husband for you to have your career? Like, does he ever think like, hey, this is a little, maybe you shouldn't do that because we get these kinds of, consequences or whatever? Or is he just totally supportive? Or
For you mean like when I do my show and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you get it. Like you said, your comments are sometimes, ridiculously mean.
Honestly, yeah, it's weird because I've been with my husband 13 years and I just became political in 2015. So
he didn't know what he was getting into.
What's that?
He didn't know what he was getting into.
Oh no, he had no idea. I'm a totally different person now. Totally. I had never attended a march. I'd never organized anything. I had never volunteered at a campaign. This was like a rebirth, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, we were, yeah. So I compare it to like a Christian marrying an atheist, because he's not political at all, like at all. Like he voted for Bernie both times and stuff, but he's not like, he doesn't like watch my show or go to rallies or, you know, he's just not that person. So I think, you know, I tease him that if we met now, he'd be like, oh God, you're like a social justice warrior or something. But like when he met me, I was like so nice. I was like a very nice person back then. And I actually, you know, was sweet and had some hope in the world.
Oh.
And then this was created.
Oh God. In 2015, what was the catalyst again? Like, was it something specific? I know that
you know, I started watching old 80s videos of Bernie on the floor. Like I hold you in contempt, you in contempt, you in contempt. And I was just like, holy shit, that's the most fucking punk rock guy I've ever seen in my life. Like he's got crazy hair and he's just like, and then I saw him on Barbara Walters and she said, what is one thing? This was, so I found out about him a few months before he announced in 2015. And Barbara Walters said to him, what is one word you'd want to be known for after your presidential campaign? And he said, compassion. And I said, I'm volunteering for him. That's it. Sign me up. I'm volunteering. And it was like, I had never heard a politician say such a thing, you know? And he said it so genuinely. And I was just like, wow, like, holy shit. And then I started learning about him and his arrest for civil rights and stuff like that. And I just thought, holy shit, this dude's an anomaly. So yeah, then I just started volunteering and the first thing I ever organized was a Bernie march in Harrisburg, and over 300 people showed up, and it was scary, but it was amazing. And then it just kind of, I got that fix of, oh my God, it's so great to bring people together, and just kept doing it.
Wow, that's wonderful.
That is a really great story, especially that you got activated.
Yeah,
like that.
I think I'm one of millions. I really do. I mean, whether people still support Bernie now is a separate issue, but he did activate millions of us. Like there's absolutely no question. Like we had over 1 million volunteers in 2020. And there's no way all of those people were into politics before 2015. It's not feasible. So, I mean, I know a lot of people, you know, will be like, oh, you just became political in 2015. I was political out of my mom's womb and stuff. And I'm like, I have no reason to lie. Look, I was a shit lib, okay? I wasn't like the shit lib you see online, you know, that's like, you know, vote blue no matter who, but I was just Dem. I mean, that was all I knew. I vote Dem. Dems are great. Obama's great. And it's reality. I have no reason to lie and be like, I've been this way forever. Like, no, I'm just like millions of other people. I woke up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the same way, like voting Dems, you know, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, this is, and then the same thing in like the 2015, it was like, oh, let me look into this more, you know, and then I got involved in like, instead of doing like the Bernie campaign, I got involved in the getting money out of politics thing. You know,
good,
like, you know, because this seems to be the root issue. But yeah, then the more you dig, you're like, oh no, and sometimes I'm like what we were talking about earlier, I wish I could go back to like not knowing just a little bit, because it's hard to like to care about people and what happens to people and then like watch everything every day and just know how like fucked we are if we don't stand together and do something. It is a really hard truth, I think, to actually see, and that probably is why so many people have those blinders on, because it's very uncomfortable and very scary.
And I think those of us who are aware of what's going on, we need to realize that we are worth so much more than what we are being told and the breadcrumbs we are being offered when they do supposedly give us something. You know, some people push so-called Medicare for all state by state. What is that? It's breadcrumbs. It's nothing. It is absolutely nothing. We want it all. All means all. Every single person. There is no equity in, if you're in these arbitrary state borders, you get a benefit. That is perpetuating racism and sexism and things like that. There is no equity in that. We want every single person. We want immigrants. We want, regardless of age, we want every single person deserves the right to live a humane life, and they deserve to feel like they are worth something. And I think we've gotten to the point where we just feel very expendable, and we need to take our power back and realize that we are only feeling that way because we're letting them make us feel that way.
Yeah, right. And we're all the workers, and the workers we're the ones that produce everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like the movie A Bug's Life. Once the ants realize they have more power than the grasshoppers.
Exactly.
Sorry, movie analogies are my thing.
Yeah, I've seen that analogy so many times philosophically, like absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I forgot about that movie. That was a
have a 5-year-old, you won't forget about it.
I feel like you don't see things like that. Like, I feel like a long time ago there were things that were very subversive, and we're trying to like kind of wake people up, and I think you don't see that so much in the mainstream anymore.
No, it's the anti-hero is the hero now.
Yeah, you know, I watched that movie John Q years ago. And then I recently watched it again, and it was Denzel who was holding up a hospital staff because his son wasn't getting treatment. And I thought, oh my God, I didn't even understand. Like, to me, that was an action film. And today, you know, currently, I'm just like, holy shit, like that's about our, you know, insurance industry. Like, so you definitely do see things through a new lens, you know, once you become, you know, more aware of, you know, what's going on in your country and in the world.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, there's that wonderful episode of The Simpsons. I think it's from the 90s, where like the two aliens come and they're candidates, and and it's, I don't know if you have ever seen this?
No.
Oh man, you should look up the clip. Somebody posted a clip of it on Twitter not too long ago and reminded me of it. But essentially, they're like two aliens. They're disguising as political candidates, and one's the Democrat, one's the Republican, and you know, like, and then they take their masks off, and they're both the same thing, and then they end up enslaving humanity. I mean, but it was like, I can't believe that was like on TV. You know, like it was just very obviously calling out the two-party duopoly,
right?
But now I think that like that wouldn't be on TV.
Yeah, no way. I was looking at a lot of old episodes of Roseanne, really get to the heart of shit. Like, it's really interesting because, you know, she was poor working class, and it really does, you know, you watch it now as an adult and you're like, holy shit, like this show was like really talking to people who were hurting monetarily.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Then they won the lottery.
Yes. And then the show just turned into
It
garbage.
sure did.
Although when you really think about that, though, like them winning the lottery, like a lot of people that are in that situation, they're always like hoping that like there's this false belief that something like that is going to happen.
Certainly
And
hope.
it's like, yeah, like, and it's like they just sort of give that to them, right? And people are still thinking, oh, like, so it's like we don't have to go out and demand things be fixed. Like maybe someday, somehow, like this will work out.
Yeah,
for me.
my ship will come in.
I'm just waiting for my time. It's just not my time yet.
Yeah. It's totally our time. Just need to do something about it. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I like I said, I'm now in the stage where I'm worried we're going too long, so I'm starting to feel like I'm pressuring people to keep going. So
Yeah, we should be respectful of your time.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, that's fine. I've been enjoying the conversation.
Yeah, I've been told I just keep people going, like everywhere, like even in stores. Like I'm actually an introvert.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah, well, I'm actually an introvert. I'd rather not speak to people in public, to be honest. But then when I do, I feel like I need to be so involved with what they're saying that I perpetuate the conversation. And then like, people will be like, I thought you were like introverted and stuff. I'm like, I am. I'm like, well, why do you keep going? I'm like, because I want to hear what they have to say once I'm doing it. I just like to start it.
So does this happen to in the grocery store?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll see somebody else ask me a question. I'll say, hey, how you doing? Oh my God, it's been so long. Yeah, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to make this slow down? But I speed it up and I get it going more. And I go, oh, by the way, what happened? Because I hate uncomfortable silences. We've had this conversation before. Whenever there's an uncomfortable silence, I will fill that void with something, so a question or a random thought. And then I'm doing it right now.
We did have this conversation. I was like, I'm okay with the silence. Like, I'll just let it sit for a little bit. Like,
not me.
Okay.
To me, it's like a alarm of silence. Whoosh. It's so weird.
So, well, there's I think maybe a couple questions we didn't get to. And I think that this one is a good one. What gives you hope?
I think the thing that gives me the most hope is the people who reach out and tell me their stories. I think, every day I get messages, that say, here's what I'm going through. And they share their diagnosis and their medical bills and things like that, or how they lost a loved one. And I feel like I have to keep going. I have to. I don't have a choice. Like, that's part of being disabled as well. It's like you have two options. You just give up and you crawl in a hole, or you turn it into advocacy. Those are your two things, So when people reach out, it does give me hope, because I feel like maybe I can help by just being a voice for them, just fighting for, I want healthcare justice. I don't want it just for myself. So it gives me hope that people, trust me enough to share their personal stories with me. And also, that, they believe in me. I think that gives me hope. Like, they're counting on me. So I have to keep going.
Yeah. When people send stories, do you compile them somewhere, or you just kind of sit with them and listen and talk back?
I usually will chat and DM. Some people have asked to like video chat and stuff like that. I always try to, like, my DMs are always open. because I will not close them because I get mutual aid requests many times a day. And I'm always told you're the only person with a big account who ever shares any mutual aid requests. So I just keep them open and I share them all the time. So people, always send me their stuff. And sometimes they'll say, can we talk on the phone, or can we do video, or we can chat? I just want to be there. I mean, it's not something like I post about or, anything like that. I just, I like, being able to have conversations with people who need an outlet. I mean, depression and anxiety are at an all-time high, and people being uninsured is at an all-time high. So, I have people who come to me and say, I am so depressed. I don't know what to do. Give me a call. Here's my phone number. I don't know. I just, stuff like that gives me hope because I have to keep going. I have to.
That's really wonderful that you're there and open and talking to people, because you're right. There are so many people that have big accounts and followings, and you'll never hear from them. Most DMs will be closed, or but I can imagine that's not an easy thing to do either, to take in, all of that. So that's hopefully you do some self-care.
It can get, it can get rough, and because I do connect to people very easily, and then I follow up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, we haven't talked in a few days. Are you okay? But at the same time, like, I try to think about myself in their position and how desperate someone must feel to reach out to a complete stranger on social media. So, and that takes guts, because I have reached out to people and shared my story and seen the red receipt, saying seen, and they just don't respond. And I'm like, wow, that's really hurtful. I poured my guts to someone and shared something very intimate about what I'm going through, and there was no response. So I won't do that to someone.
Yeah, at some point though, it seems like there might be too many, because you can't do it. If you had like thousands a week or something, then it'd be, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many you do, but it's like, I can't imagine. I mean, I
would say probably, I'd say probably at least 10 DMs a day.
Wow.
With personal stories and mutual aid requests and GoFundMe and stuff.
Wow.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Wow.
I actually, because I DM'd you and I was like, oh, you never know if somebody is going to answer, but it's like, you know what, because we're still very small. So we're just kind of like, well, we'll just just message people that we want to have on and see if they answer. So I was like, oh, she answered. This is great.
Yeah, I never, I try to answer absolutely everyone. It's not always expeditious, because I get so many, but yeah, I mean, I would never not respond on purpose or anything.
That is, I commend you.
Yeah.
Really, that's like having, like, as an editor, before I put out calls for like pitches, and things like that, and then you get like that deluge, and at first you're like, oh, I want to answer everybody, because it gets like, you just can't. And so then I would just start tweeting like, there's too many of you, like, sorry. we want to read everybody's stuff, but we can't.
I swear, I feel like right now I could feel my DMs blowing up. Like, Joy said she reads her DMs.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have said that out loud.
I don't. No, I don't. No. Yeah, I'm always open.
Wow. So what are you going to do with the rest of your evening?
I am going to
I'm so
take
nosy.
my dog potty and probably just probably read my book. I'm reading Where the Crawdaddies Sing. Is that what it's called?
Wrong person.
No, I'm not asking you.
Oh, you're asking yourself. Rhetorical question. I'm bad with that.
That's what it's called. It's a bestseller. It's super good.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, nice.
Cool. And Rena's going to go eat because she's 3 hours ago.
Yes, yeah. I'm actually surprised that usually the cat by this time tries to like mess with things. It's like usually around like the 2-hour mark when we're streaming, he gets up here and puts his head in the way, knocks over my light, does something. But he's actually behaving really well. And the dog is, and Charlie hasn't even barked either.
Yeah.
It could be my voice. My friend, actually, she has a dog named Boogers, and he really likes my voice, and she plays videos of me when she's not home to calm him down.
Oh, that's awesome.
I like that. Do you do an animal voice, or do you have like animal talk when you talk to your dog?
Yes.
No comment.
I'm only asking because I have a like crazy lady animal voice. Like it's like another.
So I have a
language.
Pomeranian, and my Pom's name is Duchess. So I, when we adopted her, we were like, she's probably like, hello, my name is Duchess Snodgrass von Dumpling the Third. And she had like this very like, oh, bourgeois. And then when we really started taking care of her, we realized she's like way more like, hi guys. And that fits better. So yeah, that's pretty much the voice we gave her.
My cat's name got downgraded too, or his voice. He started out with like this weird British accent, like, pardon me, but it's time to eat food, and you're just watching me walk around. And then my daughter wanted a milk snake, and one day I went, I'm a milk snake. So now my cat talks like that, like, I'm really hungry. It's like a downgraded from this British like royalty to like this weird can't breathe like cat. What's yours, Rena?
Rena, let's hear it.
Charlie. Well, so you all are talking about like you're giving the animal a voice, which like Charlie's is very like just kind of fun. Hi, I'm Charlie. Like he's just everybody's friend. Like, hi guys, I'm Charlie. Like just the dog tries to go to happy hour, like literally will take you to happy hour. And so he like, that would be his like spastic friendly, also kind of like Charlie Day on It's Always Sunny. Like that's sort of like his kind of voice. But then I have like voices that I talk to the animals in, because I'm convinced in my head that like cats respond better to a certain voice register and certain words, and dogs like the same. So I will like change my speech patterns and my voice to talk to like the dog or the cat. It gets really confusing because I have a dog and a cat, and I didn't have them before. I had only had the dog at one time, or a cat, and so I was like always in cat voice mode, and then I was in dog voice mode, and now they're like, it's getting confused. They're getting like mishmashed.
Is she talking to me or is she talking to you?
Like, yeah, sometimes they look and they know like the different voices. But interestingly enough, like I feel like I'm onto something. Like here's my crazy animal lady thing coming out. So I don't know if you've seen these things. It's called Fluent Pet, where there's buttons and the dog can press, like so they can talk.
Yes.
Right. And so the way that so the dog talks to the person, and puts sentences together. And I was always convinced that like for sure, like my dog knows what I'm saying. Like he understands. And I realized when I was watching that, because when I speak to him, I don't speak in like how I'd be speaking to you. The speech patterns are choppier and different. And because I can tell that's how he understands it. It's like almost like toddler type speak, but I'd say, sure. I to go to store, you to stay here, you know, and I say it like that, and he'll, you know, like, because I know he's not going to understand like a complex sentence structure. And so when I see this like fluent pet thing, I'm like, this is so vindicating. like I think I'm onto something. But yeah, like I'm a nut. And I'll walk around, like sometimes if I'm out, I'll see another dog and I'll go, hi, other puppy. How you doing?
Other puppy?
Yeah, I call him, because Charlie knows dogs as like other puppy, but then because he's a dachshund, like I sort of say it in a pseudo German accent, because like I don't know. It's just
I turn British for everything. I'll be like, hello, gorgeous, what's your name? Every time I see a dog.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what
that's a good, they probably respond to that.
You know what I found out just a few days ago? You probably already know. Cats only meow at people.
Yes.
I did not know that. And it
They
was a
only
little
meow at what?
at people. They don't meow at each other. That's their language for us.
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's a little freaky once you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I've read that it's like evolutionary wise, it's like to mimic babies crying.
Yeah.
And so they know that humans will give them that attention.
Yeah.
If they meow at us.
That makes sense.
It's creepy because now when my cat meows, it's so personal. I don't like it.
I've got mine answering me, Jayson. I'll go, Oliver Dennis, and he'll go, you know. See, you hear
oh my
just,
God.
yeah, what you doing?
Her animals recycle for real. They recycle.
Yes. Yeah, they do.
In a team effort.
Yeah.
Like they literally pick up like cans and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dog Charlie's obsessed with recycling, like upset to the point where like if there's an envelope or a piece of paper or something on the floor, he will pick it up and bring it to you because he's like, this needs to be recycled. But like, yeah, everybody's like, oh my God. What? Yeah, that's the appropriate reaction to this. I'm like, no, it's totally normal. Animals recycle. But he like, I got the two of them. I got the cat into it because every time the toilet paper roll is done, I would call Charlie to get the empty toilet paper roll so he can recycle it.
Oh my God.
And so now I like the cat gets involved. So what I'll do is you put the empty toilet paper roll on the counter and then you call, you go, come on, Oliver Dennis, you gotta come recycle with Charlie. And so then the cat comes and he jumps up on the counter and he'll knock it down on the ground, and then he'll sit there and he'll wait for the dog to come. And the dog goes running in, then he picks it up, and then he takes it to the recycling. He puts it in the bag.
Oh my God.
It's on her TikTok. You can see it.
I was gonna say that needs a video. Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I've started a I have to make a new one since the cat got bigger, but yeah, I've started a TikTok that's just for videos of the animals doing things. And yeah, a lot of it is them. It's gonna be them recycling.
I want to see the one where they clean the bathroom.
Yeah, that would be
housework.
I was trying to get the dog to play with the cat toy, so I was trying to get him to hold the cat toy in his mouth, you know, and run around with it. We haven't quite mastered that yet because he just keeps chewing on it. But you know, we're trying new things all the time.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's just funny. My cat doesn't do anything like that. It just hangs out and meows at me.
This one, I think he's part Maine Coon. And because he plays fetch too, and I was like reading about, oh, here he is. Hi, Albert Dennis.
Oh, hello.
Did someone say my name?
Oh, you're so
he knows his name too. You call him, and he usually comes.
Oh. Hi. Oh, you're so cute. Dennis.
Say hi.
Oh.
Want to say hi?
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, he's like, you're saying too many things that I know. So now,
can I get him to play with the screen?
He used to do that a lot, like on my Zoom calls, and like, and I used to have to throw him all the time because he would try to step when I was at work. Like I'd be on Zoom calls and he would be trying to step on things or knock things. And so I would just, there's a bed that you can't see that's on the ground, like a soft memory foam dog bed. And so I would just take him all the time and throw him and he'd land on the bed. But people on the video would say, are you throwing a cat? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, let's just keep, and they'd be like business meetings too. And I'm just like, you know, because it's either that or he's going to step on something, you know, and like ruin something.
You should get a sound effect of like bottles and cans like smashing when you do that.
Yes. Like the dad in the Christmas tree store or Christmas story when he's like, flippity gibbet, son of a gun.
Yes.
There's all this like smashing.
Yes, exactly. That would be hilarious. You'd probably get in trouble.
Hi. Oh my God, you're so pretty.
That would be good if I had sound effects when, because people also can't see that he's just landing on a bed. So it just looks, it looks insane.
PETA after you.
But yeah, and then he just bounces right back. Like he thinks it's a game, so then he'll come right back, and then you have to throw him again. So.
Awesome.
Well, do we want to? We have been on for quite a while, so maybe we should. But it's been really great. Talking to you, Joy.
Really,
we
really good.
Enjoyed it.
Oh wow! Holy shit! It's 10:30. I didn't even notice. I did not even notice.
And I'm like, he probably wants dinner, and that's why he's like, yeah, hi.
I was like, usually I don't do shows over 90 minutes.
Really?
No, like my shows are never more than like an hour, just because I don't know, like I feel like people don't want to like listen to me that long, so I just don't do it longer. And then so that's what I told your assistant, and I was just like, and now it's been 2.5 hours and I didn't even notice.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope we didn't keep you.
Stop.
I know. You had a blast.
These are the best kind of interviews because you lose track of time.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're just talking to comrades. Absolutely. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
That was kind of why we started this channel. Like we get into a lot of political things, but we also wanted it to just be like human. Right. And like sort of have all types of people. So we have some where like we've got an artist and things like that. So it's just like deeply humanizing people and trying to make these connections and these conversations. And so, you know, somebody like you, that somebody might see maybe one side on Twitter. We're hoping that, you know, you get like a little bit more of a personable flavor, you know, maybe something different from this, and maybe people connect in a different way. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we're hoping that these will be fun conversations that people enjoy. Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna leave now until you do something about
it's funny because he keeps on putting you out of focus because the camera keeps focusing on him for a second, and then it's like a rack focus in like a Spielberg film. It's like cat, then to you. It's neat.
One time he like I think it was during either during one of our interviews, or no, it must have been, because I keep, so I can look at the comments, I have like the other screen up, and so I think he saw himself on one screen and he saw himself on the other screen, and he was like and I'm like, does he realize that that's him? I mean, maybe he thinks there's just another cat in there. It's possible, but
probably.
It was funny because he will sometimes stare at the screens and try to figure out what's happening.
He's looking at us right now.
Which, yeah, he's he is looking at you.
So I could do this all day.
Until he swats the camera or something.
If he swats the camera, then he's really self-aware, because he should be swatting the screen. Oh my God.
He's giving you a sideways head.
I've never played with a cat over Zoom before. This is brand new. This is new ground right here. This is going to go viral.
Yeah, he pays attention to stuff. Oh, now he's like, where'd it go?
Hi, kitty. Hello, kitty cat.
Now this is what our show is going to be, Jayson.
Like,
This is ADHD at its
I'm
finest.
back next Friday. Where's the animals?
I had like people on my team at work that they like it. Sometimes it would freak them out, like just both of my animal. They're like, your animals are too smart. I just can't I can't deal with this because the dog knows. Also, like if I'm in a meeting and he barks, he knows to stop. What do you see over Dennis?
Oh my God! What else do I have? I'm sorry. Wait. Okay.
Oh, he's looking at the other screen.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That's wild.
Oh my God.
Look. Ooh, what's that? Oh, now he's looking
Oliver. Oliver. No, I'm not over there. I'm over here.
What are you? Oh, now you're interested in what I'm wearing?
Oh well, I guess it's over. Cats are like that.
Yeah, they like. He's like, all right, this is only only fun for a certain amount of time. Oh, no, he's back.
Sorry, it's just. How often can you do this with a cat? All right, I'll stop.
That is the thing that we do have in common, Jayson, with our that's the one thing that'll derail me, animal anything. Like, so I'm like, oh, we're sticking to the thing, but yeah, animal stuff.
Yep.
Squirrel.
Like, I will be totally
Horsey.
Yeah. So.
Aw.
All right,
having
I'm
fun?
trying not to do anything else.
Yeah, I know. It's like we can't do this all night. I mean,
I
we
could.
probably could, but
Or can we?
Yeah.
Just leave your camera on and go eat.
Yeah.
I'll be with Oliver.
We're
Probably.
like, how long can they stay on the air? Let's all go to March for Medicare for All, $5 to enter.
You know
And-
what? If you have a telethon or something, maybe we could do this.
The Oliver and
God,
Jayson.
we can have like an animal happy hour.
I like it. We'll all get our animals.
Yes.
We get the
I love
emu
it.
lady involved.
What's that?
Oh yeah, that's right. The emu lady.
Oh, yes. Karen.
Yeah.
Karen the emu.
She blew up overnight, and I sent you that because I did see that she tweeted about medical care, and I was like, that is really fascinating, and I wonder if she would give you guys a boost.
That would be so cool. Yeah. Emu lady.
Because it seems like she does some mutual aid stuff.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna look into her more. I hadn't followed her. I didn't realize she had a Twitter.
So yeah, I didn't know about her. He's still just looking. I didn't know about her at all, until a friend sent me her video, and then of course it's animals, so I'm hooked. I'm like, this is great, and her yelling at the emo not to do something also reminds me of this one, because he's always I'm always like, Oliver Dennis, no, because he knocks my camera off, he knocks the light off, and I'm always like, don't do it. I'll say don't do it to him all the time, because he just knocks everything off my desk for fun. And so I was like, I love the that speaks to me, that general experience. So because these phones are so wild and they pay attention to it, I first saw her on Instagram, and then as I was scrolling through Twitter, her Twitter account just popped up, and I was like, whoa, I wasn't even looking for her. And so then I followed her, and I just happened to see some of those tweets, and I was like, oh, maybe she would be somebody that would be
Yeah, I'll
supportive.
definitely reach out. That'd be amazing.
He's still, I wonder, Jayson, I'm just gonna leave, have dinner, leave you with the cat.
Well, I feel like I should grab Duchess quick before we get off the air.
Yeah, let's see Duchess. I can't hear you, Jayson. I don't know if you.
Is he actually looking at this, or is he looking at something else?
No, he's looking. His He's looking at you. Oh, he really likes that thing. He likes that the most because he almost tried to touch the screen. Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna ruin your
They
monitor.
just
Yep,
got her
he's gonna
hair
touch it.
cut, and they cut it way shorter than we told them to.
Oh,
Yeah, hi, Ducky.
Uh
hi,
oh.
Duchess. How you doing?
Yeah.
My dog voice
Oh.
is gonna... How old is she?
We adopted her 13 years ago.
Wow.
Yay.
Oh.
She looks great.
Oh wow.
She's so sweet.
So British accent changed to.
Duchess Snodgrass von Dumpling the Third.
I see it. That makes
I
sense.
know, I do see it. The way she like kind of squints a little bit when you could totally see it.
Ducky.
Oh.
Oliver Dennis, did you see Duchess? See?
I can't
Yeah.
remember
You see
which,
Kitty?
but a cat or a dog, one of them can't see two-dimensional or something. I can't. Some do, but
dogs only see black and white.
yeah, some of them. There are some exceptions, but oh, now your cat's chewing on your microphone. Nice.
Yep. At a certain point, he'll just try to dismantle this setup.
This thing gets too much attention from you. Oh.
Oh, look, we've got some comments in the chat. Toms are great. And yes, and then I guess the difference between one must clean their butts because they are so fluffy.
That is so true.
Yeah, Cygnus has a
So
dog that can
true.
watch television, and I used to not think it was true, and now I know that that Cygnus' dog does watch television. It's really insane.
Oh yeah, does Duchess ever watch television?
Not really. She really just sleeps a lot. Yeah.
Oh.
Cygnus says Duchess is lovely.
She's the best.
Yeah.
I have actually, I don't know if you can see, I have her portrait on my arm because she's that
Aw.
spoiled.
Oh, I love that. That's pretty colors on that.
Thank you.
Tattoo. Now, yeah, Oliver has decided that whatever is outside is much more compelling, so he's now in the window. He heard something.
No offense, Duchess.
Yeah, no.
He's
You
a
didn't do
weird
it.
cat in that, like, if people are, I have a courtyard in front of it, so there's a big window and there's a apartment courtyard, and whatever people come and go out of the door, like he's got to look in the window. I'm like, which is a weird thing for a cat, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, but maybe he learned it from Charlie.
Oh, right.
All
The
it's
future self
time
question.
For your, Cygnus is saying it's time for your question, your
Okay.
famous question, Jayson, that you ask everybody.
Pretty much everyone.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you'll be interesting to hear. Okay, so you are sitting where you are right now. And it'll be a little bit different for you because that's right. It'll be a little different for you because you can't see as well. So this will be very interesting to see how you handle this. Someone comes in the room, and as far as you can tell, they look just like you, and they are maybe look a little disheveled and like just maybe something bad has happened. And she says, "I'm from the future. Come with me right now. Would you go?"
Well, okay, so I have an identical twin sister.
Oh my God, that's right.
So that's like a whole different level because I just think it was her.
Oh,
That is so
Do you-
true.
do your voices sound the same though?
Our voices are so much the same. Point out, I'm 43 years old, and when I call my parents, I have to say, "This is Joy." You cannot tell.
Wow.
I mean, yeah. So I would just think it was her
That's
playing a joke.
totally irrational. I would totally think it's her too. Oh
Yeah,
my
bet
God.
you didn't expect that.
No,
answer.
and you'd said it earlier. Oh my God, that's so perfect. That's hilarious. I love that question. You never know what's going to be said.
But if I didn't have a twin and I saw that, yes, I would go. because the curiosity would just be way too intense. I regret going because it takes the spontaneity out of life.
Mm-hmm.
Spontaneity. But curiosity would get me.
Yeah, absolutely. Rena's like one of the only people I've ever met that has serious questions before she goes anywhere.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I would be curious, and I would eventually go, but I would need to like ask some questions first. I'm like, I need to really verify, like.
That would, I mean, that's why I don't do, like, not that I believe in like fortune telling and stuff, but like I don't even try that shit, because like whether it's true or not, if you tell me I'm gonna die, like I'm gonna make it happen, you know. It's gonna be a self-fulfilled prophecy. I just know it, so I don't even want to know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm completely skeptical. I wouldn't believe a thing like that. Oh yeah, interesting. Oh, that's great.
Very cute.
Yes.
Right. Well, I do need to feed these critters that have been very gracious to me for.
Yeah, I'm gonna go eat something too, I guess.
So, before we hop off, Joy, tell people how they can follow you.
Yes.
And see your show and all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So my Twitter is @SavageJoyMarie1. My show you can find on YouTube and Rockfin. Savage Joy Marie Man, and our All is @M4 ALL on Twitter, and M4all.org for our website.
Let me I'll repeat it because you got kind of jarbly, and it's also, these links are in the description. Twitter is twitter.com/savage.joy MARIE1, correct?
Yes.
And Rockfin, which I'd never heard of before today.
Basically a YouTube that does not use algorithms or censorship.
Oh, okay. And that is at rokfin.com /savagejoy, one word. And YouTube is youtube.com. Oh wow, I have. Did you make a URL for your do you have a customized URL for YouTube?
If you go to YouTube and type up my name, the actual link should come up, but if you type in Savage Joy, it'll
yeah, that's how I found it. Okay, well, I have the link in the description, but it's really long, so no one's going to care if I read off a bunch of letters and underscores. But it's in the description. And March for Medicare for All is www.m4m4all.org.
Yep.
Nice. I just wanted to make sure it actually got out.
Do you want to tell them something before we leave?
Oh, is she talking? Oh, I love it.
Oh my God.
She does such a nice, like, demure version of that. Like Charlie, I'll do sound the alarm and it's like a like a howl, but she does like
well, it was before she got older and lost her voice.
I was like, that's such a nice demure version of it.
Oh my God,
that was adorable.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. It was a blast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you. And feel free to come back anytime if you're promoting another event, or if we can help you out, support things, let us know.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And I'll definitely share this and encourage people to subscribe. I love what you guys are doing, and you are just wonderful people. So I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Well, that's nice. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
That's great. You don't,
Absolutely.
and you don't have to
Take
just.
care. Thank you again.
All right. Cool.
All right.
And
Bye-bye.
see you later.
All right, Jayson, are we